What's up, everybody? The Fun King. Good old flyback Transformers. What's up, everybody? Here we are today. It is Tuesday, something, 2017. I don't know why I said that. But we're here, and this is going to be... I don't really have an agenda for the day. We're just going to, I don't know, chat about some 3D printing and work on some stuff. I apologize in advance if you hear noise, because luckily I did get the shop rearranged. If anybody saw the Hangout stream the other day, we had the intention of rearranging the shop and kind of accomplished nothing over the course of like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So I did get it kind of like organized. You can see the printers are back here, and we'll talk about that a little bit, and like what changed and how the... Yeah, let me put my balls away. I just thought they look cool. Steel balls are so much fun to play with. Balls in general are fun to play with. You know what I mean? But yeah, we got the shop rearranged. I'm not really happy with it yet. I still have the mixer sitting here in the way. I wish there was somewhere to put that, but overall, it's better. And I finally got some like slabs to put under the printers, because my desk or my bench back here is not level. And it was causing some problems, particularly, it was actually more so with the MK2 than the Anet. The MK2 does not like to be sitting on anything even remotely unlevel, because the frame, even with my, again, talking nuts, even with the nuts like really tight, the frame on that does flex fairly easily, so change the balls to the wall hangout. We'll leave it as is. We're like 2 minutes in, and we're already being incredibly immature. We don't need to make that any worse. The first things first here, I'm going to do a pair of filament changes and get both of these machines running so we can utilize our time well. What are we doing here? The MK2, we're going to be printing out some spinner buttons, everybody's favorite addiction. And I printed out... We'll take a closer look at it. Believe it or not, this came off the Anet. This print is, for lack of a better term, freaking-tastic. This thing prints fantastically. I'm kind of shocked for $160 printer how well this thing's performing. But I'm going to throw some of the eSun PLA Plus in there, because this stuff prints really well. This filament I don't like, and this still printed nice. So we're going to put some filament I like in here and knock another one of these rockets out while we sit here and chat and work on some stuff. I'm going to try to cut a piece of glass today also, to get kind of like a makeshift cover for the Trinus, so I can maybe start getting something done with that. Because we'll talk about that too, Kodama customer support and how it's not my favorite. But let's do that. These are both preheated, so we're just doing a filament change and starting some prints. And I don't know, some of you guys remember before I was complaining about the MK2 not wanting to eject filament because it has a little plug on the end, if you've let the filament cool down after printing with it. So I've like moved to the squeeze method that somebody shared with me. It's like awesome. Easy. I'm also back to the filament holder on the top of the MK2, which I don't like. I need to fix that again since everything moved. I mean, this isn't the worst with a little piece of PVC, but it's not my favorite. Alright, we'll get this started. All right, that's one of my older SD cards. That thing is a mess. So that started, and those are just the buttons for the main bearing on some spinners I need to make. I actually had someone over today that got 5 spinners. Again, whether or not you like spinners does not change the fact that if you own a printer, you should probably be selling these things. I've actually been I've been doing some bookkeeping to kind of keep track of things, and I've been printing some spinners with the Anet A8, and I'm setting all of the money I make off of that aside to basically use the A8 to purchase the A6 to also build one of those and get a feel for it. But I just love that, like, it's already pretty cool to most of us that you can use your 3D printer to upgrade your 3D printer. It's like kind of taking it to the next level to use your 3D printer to buy another 3D printer that can then upgrade itself with 3D prints and stuff. So I also have a sort of half-assed, I guess is the nicest way of saying it. I have a half-assed filament roll kind of set up for this so far. It's don't do what I do, guys. Don't do it how I do it. This isn't how you want to do it. Actually, let's go ahead and improve this a little bit. Let me grab a piece of PVC, and we'll get a setup similar to what the Prusa is using. Because as it is, like, it comes with this little filament holder kind of thing, and it comes with a threaded rod, but it's kind of thin, and when you have a full roll of PLA on there, the roll kind of sits off-centered, and it's a lot of weight that can sway a little bit depending on how it between the pull of the actual extruder and the movement of the x-axis. It can actually get quite a bit of force on there, so I was using this kind of like makeshift ghetto setup with a bunch of washers and a vase mode test print I had done for a filament review. So let's get off of this and get a piece of PVC. Hopefully I'll luck out. This is a little bit too wide, but it's actually close enough that we can go ahead and use it. So again, we're playing with our nuts. And this should be good enough. This will work. It's just basically anything helps this spin a little bit better. Like even just this PVC piece on here will help this spin a little bit better, bind a little bit less, and make sure we don't have any problems. All right. Get in the hole. I was actually just going to say like how easy the ANET filament changes tend to be compared to the MK2, and now it's giving me problems. Insaniac, yeah, I will. Like, my wife is 9 months pregnant. Like, she's going to pop at any moment, so I usually only have 2 days a week that I have time to record, and between my wife having to be in and out of the doctor's office, and we had to actually go to the ER the other day, between that and some changes around here, and trying to do like some improvements to like the quality of my videos and stuff, time's been a little tight, but I know I've said that a million times over the last few months, but things are getting back to normal again. All right, so there we go. I hate how the text scrolls on these wide file names on the ANET. It's kind of annoying. It is nice how a print starts basically immediately on the ANET. I do like that. I know that's just like you can make your G code different in like Simplify if you want the proofs to act that way, but and our layer height's good. I know now why some guys like the old school method of bed leveling, because like the ANET has the screws and like spring kind of setup. It's a little it's a little fidgety to get right, but like now I haven't had to mess with that in like the last 10 prints basically. Yeah, the LCD on the ANET is not my favorite. It's probably actually the worst aspect of the printer, which if the LCD screen is the worst aspect of your printer, you really don't have too much to complain about, honestly. So what do you guys want to do? What order do you want to do this in? We want to talk about the ANET today. I want to talk/complain about the MK2 a little bit today. I'd like to cut a piece of glass for the Trinus. We need to talk about the Trinus a little bit, and then whatever. I don't know if anybody has any preference on what order we do that in. I'll wait till I get some feedback here. Oh, hey, what's up, Daryl? Daryl was actually who was just here a little bit ago and was picking up some spinners from me, which was kind of cool. But yeah, so do you want to start with the ANET? We can start with the ANET. Complain and then glass. No, I don't know if I really want to call it complaints. I don't want to talk trash about the MK2. I've been having some issues with the MK2 lately, and Jatman, if you guys have watched him, he was actually talking in a stream the other day about Simplify 3D and how he's, I think, suspecting that Simplify is pushing like some stealth updates because it is connected. It does do like your account verification and stuff, so it is remotely connected to a server, and I don't know if anyone else has experiencing this, but as of late, I have had a lot of trouble slicing files that end up giving me good results on the MK2. And the weirdest thing is that I have old files that I've sliced, and when I print those, I get really good results. But when I try to like re-slice the same files with essentially the same settings, I'm getting like different results. And it's been kind of frustrating. Like last night, I have old slices of the spinners that I wanted to print, but I was trying to re-slice them so I could put the buttons and the spinner and maybe multiple ones of the spinner bodies in a single file, and I just could not get them to print well. I was having problems with the bottom layers, like not actually putting fill lines in areas, and it was leaving gaps and stuff. And I tried using the gap fill. I tried everything I could think to do. I adjusted extrusion width, extrusion multiplier. I adjusted my Z height. I did try Slicer. Slicer was giving me consistent results, but it's that age-old thing of like, as soon as I have a problem, I want to fix it. So like I think I sliced it between 8 and 11 times, I would guess. And I finally just gave up and used the old sliced files that I had, which aren't perfect. It's not filament. I tried 5 different types of filament. I tried the eSun, I tried the AIO, I tried the PLA, the little bit of PLA that came with the printer that I had left from the MK2. I tried, because I have all the samples from the maker box. I tried 5 different filaments. 3 of which were really high quality filaments, like the eSun PLA Plus. I tried the polyalchemy elixir. I tried a couple different things, and it wasn't really the tinfoil hat. Shut up, Joseph. I just couldn't figure it out. But anyway, and that's not all. I've also been having some problems with the bed leveling on the MK2. I just can't get it quite level, and I've even went in and tried the mesh level tweak area of the settings, and I just can't get it right. And it's been a problem that's been there since I've had the printer. Basically, if you're looking at the printer, the back left corner is high, and I did improve the situation. But yeah. And again, I was skeptical when Dustin was talking about this, but I seem to be experiencing kind of the same things where Simplify with the same settings is not producing the same results that it used to. But I don't know. There might be something someone suggests that I can try. I switched nozzles. I recalibrated. I checked all the bolts on my y-axis and made sure everything's seated properly, everything's sitting properly. But I couldn't quite fix it. It prints okay. I still have the bed level issue, even with the old slices of the files I need to print. But yeah, it was a little frustrating. I was genuinely frustrated last night. But anyway, let's go ahead. Let's try to cut this piece of glass. I'm kind of nervous about this. So I have my trusty little, I don't know, what most people would call a thieves kit. And I have this old-ass glass cutter that apparently was my grandfather's, but I don't know why the hell he had a glass cutter. Quick side question, how are you marketing yourself to let local people know that you are selling print services? Basically, I'm not. It's like Daryl that got some printers or spinners from me today. I basically just saw a conversation where people were talking about where to buy spinners locally, and I said, hey, I have the ability to make these. I haven't made a ton. But yeah, basically it was just that, and now apparently he has talked to several people that he knows, and there's a possibility I'll sell to people that way, and word of mouth, basically. How to simplify 3D update? I don't know. I think it's just automated, as far as I understand, because I've never actually updated Simplify, yet I have the newest version. And I know there is other software that I've used in the past that does kind of like stealth updates where they're constantly updating code, but they don't really say, hey, we're doing this. It just kind of happens because you're connected to the internet and it has like a server that it connects to automatically to verify your account data. I agree how I do it. Simplify is in desperate need of some updates. They've really went kind of quiet, which is kind of a shame because they were the de facto best slicer in most people's eyes for a long time. But I think Slicer has gained, or Slick 3R has gained quite a bit of ground on them. It's just like I had to slice a file the other day, and I needed multiple processes. It would have been multiple processes in Simplify to have different layer heights on different parts of the print. And it is way easier to do that in Slicer now. Skydriver, don't get your panties in a twist, man. There's like a lot of people commenting here. I'm not ignoring you. Look at one of the old files you've exported. Yeah, I mean, I can do that. I'll do that when I have time. But as I say all the time, I don't have that much time to work on stuff, man. So like anybody, I'm just trying to do the best I can with the time I have. I don't have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to mess with stuff. But no, like I said, I'm just chatting here. I'm just putting it out there to see if anybody else, because I have talked to multiple people that seem to be experiencing the same thing. So if you think it is like tinfoil hat territory, make sure to go give Dustin some shtick too, because he's definitely on board with the idea. All right, so let's try to cut this piece of glass. Like I said, I have a glass cutter here. And we've got this cheap-ass piece of glass that has fingerprints all over it. And I mean, let's take a second here to look at the first layer on this A-net. Hopefully this will be in focus. And it's a little tough for me to see over there. It looks like it's focused for the most part, but this thing has been printing fantastically. It lays down nice layers. We'll talk about it in a little bit, I guess. But we're gonna try to cut this piece of glass, because I guess we can talk about it while we do this. Let me switch cams while I get stuff ready. I've tried to reach out to Kodama, but their customer support is not the best. I think I've opened 4 tickets at this point to try to get to talk to someone, and the tickets keep getting closed with like a copy-paste style response, which is kind of frustrating. Again, I don't know if anybody else has had a better experience with them, but it's been a little frustrating, honestly. Because I think the first time I reached out to them was basically the day after I got the printer, so it's been a little while now. Oh, this piece of glass. I don't know how I got so many fingerprints on it. So I watched a couple tutorials on how to cut glass, and it's a incredibly straightforward procedure. I'm just like terrified I'm going to break it. So we got a marker to mark it. I need to measure this Trinus. Looks like it's dead on 5 inches by 5 inches, so we'll try to cut this at 5 inches. I hope this is going to be fun. I hope we're going to be like, wow, cutting glass is so easy. I know my wife cuts glass when it's cold out. Waka waka. Alright, so let's get this focused here. Alright, so we're going to mark this at 5 inches. We're going to undersize it a tiny little bit. But as always, if anybody has any thoughts on the MK2/simplify situation, feel free to freak out in the comment section after this video gets posted. Alright, so we're going to kind of line it up with the marks we made here. And I think this surface should be pretty much perfect. We have some felt here, so the glass has a little bit of room to flex. We've got what I believe to be the proper tool for cutting this, even though it's older than I am by quite a bit. So we're going to line our ruler up, and apparently we're supposed to hold it like this. Use a moderate amount of pressure, and we should hear like a ripping/cracking sound. We're not supposed to start at the edge. This feels weird. I didn't hear shit. I don't know if our tool's not sharp enough. It looks pretty sharp. We're totally just going to shatter this piece. I can feel it already. Let me stand up. Maybe I need more leverage. I've never cut a piece of glass before. Oh, we started to get the sound we want. I don't know. I don't think that's how it's supposed to go. I'm kind of thinking our tool's not sharp enough. I don't know if we can sharpen this a little bit. Probably not. We can try here. Like, obviously, this is like a temporary solution at best. To use a sheet of glass here. I just, on Kodama's site, quite a few of the parts are actually back-ordered. Notably, the LCD control panel, which is actually one of the things I want most. But hopefully we can get this cut reasonably. I mean, even if it has some you know, less than ideal edges on it, if we can get it approximately the right size, I'd be happy. Because as it is, I essentially can't print anything on that print bed. Because it's rough as all hell. And it's got that weird kind of grid pattern put into it. Which makes getting like a decent layer pretty hard. Or a decent first layer. And using a raft sucks. Alright, this is not what I had planned on doing today, but let's try to get this. And you're also supposed to do this in a single pass. So this is already kind of a failure. But we'll try it again here. Alright, so we sort of scored it. I don't know if you can see that. Well, oh man. This is nerve-wracking. Let's try to, we'll put the ruler here for a cleaner edge. Well, here we go, guys. Hopefully, hopefully I don't need to go to the hospital. That's obviously not the best, but I'm gonna count that as a success. It looks like this end is approximately the size we want. Yeah, this end is actually okay on size. And if we cut it 5 inches here, we'll only have this little weird spot there. So, yeah, not too bad. Interesting. I was kind of just expecting that to shatter in random directions. So we'll set this aside. We'll get this, try to get this piece scored. And it does take quite a bit of pressure. I'm kind of surprised how much force that takes. And again, it might be because this tool is... Oh, that felt right that time. We got the sound we're supposed to have and everything. So I have a feeling this one's going to break a little bit more cleanly. Oh man, I'm so nervous. Here we go. Look at that. That's actually a straight edge. Wow, not bad. So we have a 5-inch square piece of glass. We actually have 2 of them, since that was 10 inches in that dimension. Awesome. Sweet. I was not expecting that to go that well. Now sand and polish the edges. Yeah, I'll do that off stream. That'll be kind of boring. I'm just kind of pumped that I actually got a piece of glass cut. Haha. Go YouTube. Like 85% of the things I know, I learned how to do that on YouTube. Alright, get fingerprints off of this, and it'll actually look presentable. It's a shame that first edge, like, I'm not surprised. That's the first piece of glass I've ever cut ever. But if that other edge looked nice, this would actually be basically a square piece of glass. Not too bad. I can bring the Trinus over here. I don't believe it's plugged in. So the thing that stinks about the Trinus that I've already run into is you can't move the axes without having it tethered to a computer, which is kind of a pain. Don't follow that guy that takes an iPhone 7 and drills a hole in it for earbuds. So I'm hoping, I don't know, I don't think it's at all common for people to do this with a Trinus, because it does have a nice little build plate from the factory. And we'll put this clean edge forward. But like I was saying, it kind of stinks that you can't move the axes on the Trinus. Without it being tethered. Like, obviously, I can move these up with my fingers here. But it's not really ideal to do that. I think it does rehome itself, so hopefully when we plug it back in, then it won't be a problem. Alright, so we'll get the build plate out there. Let me get some clips. So the clip situation isn't ideal. I only have 3 clips and 3 of the little edge piece tensioner things, but I think this is enough to get her clipped on here. And hopefully now, when I get a chance, it's a little bit bigger than our build platform, but I don't think it's bad. It's at least going to give us a somewhat acceptable surface. And then I'll just pull these things out. This will give us a somewhat acceptable surface to print on here. So I can try to actually do something with the Trinus, as opposed to the nothing I'm doing with it at the moment. Move these to our other clip. And clip it on the front. It looks like I probably can't clip it on the front because the motor mount, there's basically no space there. So we'll just clip it on either side. That should be sufficient. Seems like it's on there good. Probably if I was doing this, if I had more clips, I'd clip 2 on either side. Yeah, that's good enough for now. But no, that should be better than the surface that was on there. If you saw the video from when I unboxed that, it's I bought the Trinus used, and whoever had it before me, you can kind of still see the scratches underneath the glass. They scratched the living hell out of that build plate. Some glass bed holders. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea, but like I said, this is hopefully only a temporary solution. So if all goes well, in probably like 2 weeks or so, this will not have to be on here. But Trinus's customer support, I know they're probably kind of swamped because they're just finishing up their Kickstarter orders and stuff. But I don't know. It just sucks to have them be so dismissive about everything. Not the first company that I've dealt with that's like that, but I was kind of surprised because they had a okay reputation. Manufacturers of binder clips probably wonder why their sales went up. Yeah. So you can see, I can see that. But that's basically all we're going to do today. I haven't had a chance to sit down with the Trinus and get accustomed to the software and stuff. We did fire it up the one day, so it is on my laptop when I get a chance to work with it. But I've mostly been tweaking the Anet and trying to deal with some of the issues with the MK2 when I had the opportunity to mess with stuff. So there we go. I guess we can talk. I can show you guys. I went to Lowe's. Like I said, my bench is really uneven. So I actually went to Lowe's, and they have a variety of tiles, or any home improvement store. They have a variety of tiles and stuff. They had marble tiles there. Or it's actually not marble. I forget what the guy said it was, but it looks like marble, and it's a super dense stone, and they had tiles of it, but they were like $8 a piece, which was a little out of the range that I was willing to spend just to have like a relatively flat surface. And they have ceramic tiles, obviously, which come in sizes that are appropriate, but I was really worried about ceramic kind of resonating those noises that we all hate from these printers and the stepper motors. So I found these that are kind of like a cast stone. Again, I forget exactly what they're called. But if you're looking at tiles, the ceramic tiles are really obvious. They're the ones that are like shiny. They're kind of light compared to most of the other materials. And obviously the marble is really heavy. And these things are somewhere in between. And if you can see behind me, all of the printers actually have their own little slab that they're sitting on. And I just bought a cheap pack of felt feet and put 4 feet on each one of these tiles. And it's enough that the tile doesn't wobble on the desk, and it gives me like a nice flat surface to set the printer on. Like this is a 12 by 12. And the Trinus didn't really need one because it has a rock solid build platform. It's sitting on a piece of steel that's basically the same thickness as this tile. You can see like a 12 by 12 fit perfectly for the Trinus. And then for the other ones, 18 by 18 is pretty much perfect also. The MK2 has a small footprint. I think it's only like 8 inches by about 12 inches or somewhere in that region. But I got 18. These were on sale. I got lucky. I got 18 by 18 tiles for $2 a piece, and I know these look like ceramic, but they're actually not. They're quite a bit more dense than the ceramic tiles. Like I said, these are some kind of like cast stone material. It has a name, but I unfortunately can't remember it. But I know I was looking for these for a long time. And these are a little bit dusty on the bottom because they are like a poured kind of stone material. But these are a lot less dusty than the concrete kind of like path tiles that I was going to get. So if anybody has a similar problem, like you just don't have a nice level surface, if you check out your local like home improvement stores, there's a good chance you can find something like this. Or even like the marble tiles, if you only need one, it's not that bad to spend like $7. Yeah, concrete. Because I was going to buy the concrete tiles because they're fairly cheap, but they're super big. Like most of those concrete tiles are damn near 2 inches thick and 18 inches, and they end up weighing 20 or 25 pounds. But these things are more like concrete than ceramic. But let me catch up on chat here. I have been talking a lot. I'm dying inside. Stop filing it. Teeth up, wheel down. Was I holding it the wrong way? What did I do with it? Teeth up, wheel down. I was holding it the wrong way. It's just you can kind of see why I was holding it the way it was. It's contoured for the finger here for whatever reason. It actually looks like the contour should probably be on this side. Yeah, I mean, if that's the way you're supposed to hold it, it is what it is. But it worked. It worked okay. Just a little more awkward to hold it the other way. I was like, it's more intuitive to hold it this way because it puts the wheel where you need it without any kind of contortion, but my brain was telling me that my finger is supposed to go here. Whatever. Next time around, it'll be better. It's not like he's going to blow up the world or something. Not the whole world. Congrats, Nelly, you've destroyed that tool. Oh, well. A stream wouldn't be complete if I didn't freak out chat. Put the tiller ornament dowel under the glass along the line. See, apparently, it's like, it always blows my mind that no matter what I do, there's always like people in chat that know how to do it a hell of a lot better than me. About the iPhones. Yeah, I can't believe people actually drilled out their iPhones. That's like mind-boggling. So if you guys ever want to give me shit for doing something stupid, just know there's people much more stupid than me out there. Did I sand the edges to get rid of the sharp edges on the glass? No, I didn't. I will do that. Like I said, I'll do that off stream. I don't know what grit sandpaper that takes. Probably nothing too crazy. I will do that later. But yeah, I've done enough sanding on stream. You guys don't need any more. There's other streams if you want to go watch me sand stuff for an hour. Jai, I think most people disagree with you. Hard times. Yeah, man. The experts come out of the woodwork as soon as you do anything with an audience. Alright, so that's done. I bitched about the MK2 a little bit. Simplify. I agree. I mean, even Dustin said the same thing. I need to sit down and take the G-codes, like take one of the older G-codes and compare it to one of the ones that I've resliced with the same settings that seem to be giving different results. Chat was giving me help. Basically, they were sitting there cringing and facepalming. But honestly, what would you guys do? What would your life be like if I just got on here and conducted myself like I knew what I was doing? You guys wouldn't be here. It's like the, what is that, Schadenfreude? It's like the Schadenfreude of the Nillabean stream that attracts people. But no, if I get a chance, I will do that. Dissect some of the G-codes and try to get to the bottom of it. But like I said, when I saw Dustin first talking about it, I was skeptical. I was with most of you guys where it's like, all right, let's get the tinfoil hats out. But I've definitely been experiencing kind of the same thing. Did I change the printer profile? Yes and no. I didn't initially, but I did. I used some older profiles I had. I got some what were known to be like from the Prusa forums. I got some profiles that people were having good results with, and yeah, I know the spinners are kind of like a smaller print, and smaller prints especially are a little more susceptible to the exact route that like infill and stuff happens to be pathed on, and the angle and stuff. Like I tried different angles on the infill, and I tried orienting the part differently, but schmutz. I say schmutz a lot. Not a lot, but Schadenfreude is not an English word. So we can talk. Let's talk about the Anet A8 for a little bit. So most of you know I bought it not that long ago. We put it together on stream. For the most part, everything went well. I had a little bit of issue with the extruder, and there was a little bit of confusion there that I haven't went back and addressed, but it seems to be working just fine. To date, the only things I've done to the Anet were basic calibration, which is again like a $0 investment. I printed some parts out on the x-axis. I know you can't really see here, but they're little parts that wrap around the smooth rod, and then they have a 608 bearing that allows the threaded rod to sit in them to keep the distance fixed. I know more than one person suggested putting a zip tie at the bottom and then sliding it up to keep that distance fixed. I don't even think those printed parts are necessary, really. What was actually causing so much flexing is that I hadn't screwed in the set screws, the little grub screws, on the x-axis smooth rods, because basically, like, once you get that x-axis distance fixed or set, you need to tighten those so when the belts pull in, it doesn't like affect how the it doesn't affect the x-axis width. So I think all that really needed done was for me to adjust the width and then tighten those grub screws. I think that was plenty to fix the problem, because when the grubs are fixed or tightened, your belt can be relatively tight and not actually draw the axis in, which was what was actually happening. And it was giving me like just a little bit of like wobble in the x-axis on prints, and you could see it, how the extrusion lines weren't lining up exactly. But I put those parts on, and that's essentially it. Oh, and the if anyone watched 3D Maker Noob's video, like the cooling duct shootout, which again is like a fantastic video. I think videos like that are not only interesting to watch if you're into 3D printing, but it was kind of useful. It'll save you a lot of time if you're wondering which design you want to go with, because if you'd set all those cooling ducts out in a line and ask me which one I thought was going to perform well, it wasn't actually the one that ended up performing the best. So I went with, I have a couple of them. I went with one of the ones that, you know, he found to be a pretty good performer, and I think it performs pretty well too. The file is kind of ugly. I got to be honest. The geometry on it is kind of rough, and printing this at 0.2 millimeter layer height. Let me get this focused here. At 0.2 millimeter layer height, there's a little bit of ugliness on the top of that curve. And I thought it was the printer, because I printed these on the Anet, and you can see it printed okay. The quality's, I think, fine on this. And I thought a little bit of that ugliness was the extruder maybe, but if you go into your slicer, it's actually the geometry of this rounded area is a little bit rough. But I threw one of these on here, no big deal, maybe like a 25-minute print, something like that. And it did improve like the print quality. You can see the extrusions were a little bit more consistent because it's cooling a little more effectively, and it improved the quality of the prints a little bit. But that's basically it. The only other thing I've done to the A-net was throw the spare piece of PEI that I had from my MK2. I went ahead and threw that on the heat bed. As you can see, it's kind of yellow. It's got that kind of weird sort of amber color to it. But let me get close in on this print. This thing has been printing fantastically. And the little bit of weirdness on the edge of that one fin is actually just the lettering. That's not like a problem with the print or anything. You can see the start of the embossed lettering. But that's how the A-net is currently printing, with essentially no modification. And I'm quite happy with it. As you can see, we have like nice clean walls there. The extrusion's like fairly consistent. Details are nice and tight. Like those letters are nice and tight. They look fine, I think. And the PEI is like magic. I love that stuff. Prints pop off so easy. And the bed on that's actually nice and level. But here's the other one that I printed. And I posted pictures of this on Twitter, and I think it was Meester said that it looked like there was missed extrusions in it. But this thing's actually pretty great. Let me get it focused here. It's having a little moire. But this is straight off the A-net with essentially no modification. There's like a hair piece of fuzz there. That's actually not on the print. But it kind of surprises me how clean this embossed sort of lettering is. It came out really clean. But you can see, even with like this filament that I don't really love, the print quality on that's pretty fantastic. The sheen of the filament's a little bit different. I was getting worried about the tip not printing well, so I slowed the print speed down, which actually changed like the finish. You can see it's like shinier up there than on the rest of the rocket. But overall, if this, like being perfectly honest, if this came off my MK2, I would be happy with it. And this came off a printer that costs, what, a fifth as much as the MK2. And in my opinion, this print's solid. But yeah, this is PLA. But I don't know what everybody thinks about this print, but this is kind of mind-blowing to me that this thing prints this well. I was not expecting this. I was honestly, the only reason I ever bought an Anet A8 was because I get asked about it a lot, and I wanted to have some first-hand experience before I talked about it much. And was never expecting it to print like this. I honestly wasn't. But I do have some other parts waiting for it. I printed out, though it's funny. Like one of the things I don't like about the A-net are the white x-axis ends. So I have these printed out. Again, these also printed on the A-net. I have different end stops for the x-axis that have a little thing to adjust your Z height a little bit easier with the end stop switch, and then it has a belt tensioner built into the end stop on the other end, which would be pretty handy because it's a little bit tedious to adjust the belt tension. But I'm gonna throw these on probably in a week or so. I would guess at this point I have about 25 or 30 hours of print time on the A-net, and I was kind of guessing that I want to get about 100 hours of print time on it to get an idea of how it prints. And we're creeping up on that pretty quick since I've been keeping it running. I need to fill the rocket up with soda and pop in some Mentos. I kind of feel guilty. I want to do a video where I take this out, and I got the slingshots finished finally. The frames for these are 3D printed. And then I got some TheraBand Gold, and finally got these slingshots strung up, or banded up. And then this one has the latex tube bands, which are a little bit stronger, but this one's a little bit less enjoyable to shoot overall. But I want to kind of put some 3/4 inch steel balls through this thing and just like annihilate it. But I also feel kind of guilty because it'll be like destroying something beautiful. We never did look at the first layer on this. I mean, I just all around, I'm quite happy with the way this printer's been performing. Try to get the light to shine on that. That's a solid first layer. That looks good. And like I said, the bed on the A-net is actually perfectly level too. So it's a little fiddly to use the screws and stuff to get your bed level, but even my first time doing it, honestly, it took less than 2 minutes for me to get it really close. I hope we're not shooting those feral cats. I wish I could. I don't have the heart to. I don't shoot anything with these. I just use, like, I went to Walmart and bought a big old bag of glass marbles, and I've just been like shooting cans and stuff. Because this thing, you could go bird hunting with this. You could kill squirrels with this pretty easy. Can you post links? If you there's the way you can like circumvent them, or circumvent the filter. Like I said, since I saw you in here, I'll just like make you a mod. That'll make it easier. So there, now you can. How far am I with the camera slider? It's. I had a couple pieces of hardware. I needed the T-nuts, those little nuts that slide in the slots. But beyond that, the Arduino is basically ready to go. For batteries, I busted apart an old laptop battery that I had from a laptop that's like 15 years old, and it has what are the 18650 cells in there. They're like giant AA batteries, basically. It had 9 of those in there, so I'm going to use these for the battery power for that. And it was nice that Daryl stopped by when he got the spinners today. I didn't realize that these are the most common cells in like vapes. So I'm going to pick up a cheap charger for these. These are like old Samsung cells. And I think 3 of these comes out to basically 12 volts, which is what I need to run the stepper reliably. In the testing I've done, 12 volts seems to work best. And then I printed out, I found on Thingiverse, this little battery holder for 3 cells. And I'll have to wire it up and put the end contacts in. You see, it's got these cool little things on the end that put a little bit of tension on the battery without having to have springs or anything in there. But that's how I'm gonna power this. This will be mounted on the underside of the slider rail. And like I said, provide basically 12 volts to that circuit. I think it's a hair under 12 volts, but this is ready. Like I said, the Arduino, I need to mount that on a board so I can actually mount it in a little control box on the slider. But the gantry and stuff works great. I'm going to get a ball head for the camera, but for the time being, since this uses pretty standard threads, it's like a 1/4-20 thread, I think it's called. And actually just countersunk a bolt into the bottom of the plate. Got a lock washer, or a lock nut and stuff on the underside there, and then just a bolt that I can tighten the camera down with. And just with this setup already, it's a functional slider. I took a couple test shots with it, and it works great. Like, the movement's so fluid on this already. Like, even just like using your finger, you can get really consistent, smooth movements out of it. So I'm really pumped about getting the stepper hooked up to it. But I know somebody asked earlier why, like, if I'm going to return to doing recorded videos. there's just a couple little projects like this that I want to get done, because it's hard to do a video when you know you have like improved production qualities like right on the horizon. So I want to wait just like a hair. Yep, quarter 20. And I went to, there's actually like this little like, they're not quite Amish, but they're similar. But there's a hardware store right down the road from me, and they have an unbelievable selection of hardware. I just was dumbfounded when I went in there. They have like 10 times the hardware selection that our local Lowe's has. But it's crazy. They had everything. They had the hex head pan screws I needed. They had, the only thing they didn't have was the T-slot nuts, which is not surprising. Vape helped me be 1 pack a day. Yeah, my grandmother was a pretty heavy, not heavy smoker, but she smoked more than she should have. And I bought her a vape like 5 years ago, and she like instantly switched over. Welded shops have threaded rods. Considering $350, I'm not a good. I could give you a reasonable opinion on most of the Nikon line. For whatever reason, I just was never that into the Sonys. Just print out some M4 nut carriers. I could do that. The only reason I didn't do it that way, I could do that. That is a completely valid point. The only reason I didn't do it that way, and I was also considering with these aluminum rails, there's actually really nice spots to thread the ends. These round holes are really conducive to just like buying a threading tool and threading those, and then you can bolt your end piece like directly into that. It makes a really, really nice connection. The only reason I wanted to get the T-slot nuts was because this is going to be a project that I release like the plans and stuff for, and I want as much of it as possible to just be, pick it up and assemble it for people. But I am going to do a lot of alternatives, so it probably will be the case that I knock a little file out like that for people who don't want to buy the T-nuts. I'm already going to have multiple end variants, and probably I'd like to try to print a version of the little gantry thing if I can, and do that with printed parts. It's just like the Arduino setup. I'm going to do like probably 2 or 3 different ways you can do the Arduino setup depending on how comfortable you are like working with that stuff. It's like for a lot of people going this route with the rechargeable cells like this probably isn't going to be the way they want to go. Some people, depending on how much you're going to use it, you might just use like regular alkaline batteries, and then the next step up from that would be like rechargeable alkalines, and have like a little 6 or 8 cell pack on the underneath of this. So I want to try to make it like as approachable as I can to as many people as possible. Because like I've looked at camera sliders for a long time, and there's this. There's like a lot of cheap options that aren't that great, and then there's a lot of great options that aren't that cheap. And I think this is like such a great spot in the middle, where this is like fairly inexpensive, but this is better. Like I think this will end up costing about $120 to $130 when it's all said and done. And when you start looking at the sliders you can buy in that price range, they're not as nice as this. But no, I'm really pumped. I would say hopefully within a week, probably more realistically 2, because we're going to have a baby in the near future. Hopefully I have all that stuff done, because doing the write-up about the assembly and stuff will be pretty straightforward. I think one of the biggest hurdles is going to be how I route the belt, because this is going to have a belt to drive the the little carriage and stuff. I think that's probably going to be the biggest challenge in that project, but hopefully it won't be that big of a deal. And deciding how I want to do... I'd like to have as much flexibility as possible as far as like the motor speed. So you can do everything from like a 6-hour time lapse to a 10-second brisk slide shot. And I want the Arduino to be able to handle all that with a stepper and stuff, so that might be a little bit of a challenge because that's all new to me. Insaniac, the project was the camera slider. The little like the DSL slider for doing that sexy motion footage. And if there's anybody that's like really like dying to get a project like this done now, you can go check out Tom Sandlatter's video. He did something similar, but approached some of the things a little bit differently. Like he didn't use the 2080. His extrusion was a little bit thinner, and his just design approach was a little bit different than mine's going to be. Speaking of Arduino, I need to tear apart my controller and replace my voltage reg. Oh, that stinks. That shouldn't be that big of a project, though, and hopefully an inexpensive one. Did I check ESP8266? I don't know. I'm just using what's called an easy driver. I know almost literally nothing about it besides that. It works and it was cheap, so it was like right up my alley. Look for Wemos. Yeah, I saw some of the motor shields. Like I said, there's probably all kinds of stuff in that realm that I don't know about. But yeah, Tom's video was pretty solid. His video was pretty solid. Like, obviously, his video inspired me to finally take the plunge and go the extrusion route. Because like I said, you don't even need to motorize this. If you just get yourself a piece of extrusion, I don't know how the hell they make this for $20. This piece was like $22, I think. And you could always go, this is the 20x80. You could always go with like the 20x40. Get the little gantry kit. You're probably looking at probably $50 to $60 for those two. If you'd pick those up, print yourself some end stops, your camera doesn't go rolling off your slider and make you cry. You'd have a really nice non-motorized little little camera slider. You'd still have to have a way to hook it to your tripod or to mount it or whatever, but what you want to do there is going to depend a lot on what you intend on doing with it. For me, honestly, like I'm almost literally never going to have this on a tripod. It's basically just going to be sitting on the table here in front of whatever I'm shooting. Sandlatterer. Oh, a fan went off. Oh, our buttons are done on the Prusa. Yeah, that file printed okay. Remember to hit that like button. You don't need to shill for me. It's okay. Yeah, hard times. I did see that you sent a message. I didn't get a chance to look at the file. Like, what was that exactly? Was that an X carriage for the Anet? Because I'm kind of curious. The probably relatively soon. I hate to take a working machine and mess with it, but you guys know how it is around here. Relatively soon, I'm probably going to be getting an E3D V6 Lite in the mail. They had intended on sending me one, and they sent just the heatsink. And I plan on putting that on the Anet. Though I'm honestly kind of torn because I don't really see the point. I think this extruder works well, and I'm I'm kind of not seeing, and I know they're inexpensive. I think the light is only like $24, $25. On Philistruder at least. That's where I've been getting stuff from E3D. But it's only $24, which isn't that expensive, especially for a hot end that'll probably perform like that thing will. But this thing has been performing quite well. It's like this rocket print, like I mentioned earlier with this blue one. If this came off my MK2, I would be satisfied. Like, I really don't see anything to really complain about. There is some minor things I would criticize on this. But overall, like, this is... Like, if that had been my first printer, I would be happy with it, I think. And I know some people have said it's not really the price that dictates your experience. It's more like how well you are at operating and maintaining your machine. But, like, I haven't done any crazy calibrations with that. I basically just leveled the bed and tried to make sure everything was square and stuff. It's an all-in-one. Oh, I actually did, because it has the... Hard Times is talking about an X carriage for the Anet that it basically uses a single 40mm fan to cool the extruder and the part. It has like a wind tunnel that runs behind the plate and stuff, which is kind of a cool design. Now, I'll have to try to remember to print one of those out. Just got the ship notice for the A6. Robert, like I mentioned with mine, I was flabbergasted how fast that shipped from China. I think I got the ship notice, and then right around 24 hours later, it was at my door. Like, I couldn't believe that DHL got that to my door that quick. I agree, Robert. The other Robert, that first comment was to Robert Hupp. This is to Robert Klein. I think that's the case. I've talked about that before, like how I feel, I used to feel guilty when I would see people that were having like a less than wonderful experience with the MK2. There's always the chance you get a non-functioning piece of hardware, or maybe you get a build plate that's not quite as level as the one I got, or you get a motor that doesn't perform perfectly, or you get, something. That's, I don't know. It's a tough thing, especially with things like these where it's a kit, and a lot of how your machine performs is going to be dictated by how well you assemble it. You're about to order an A8. I got mine from GearBest, and I went back. I actually signed up for the affiliate thing with GearBest. So if anyone's going to happen to order one of those, and they want to like help the channel out, using the link in the Anet video, I think it's in both of them. I think it actually might be. It wasn't intentionally. It's actually still in the description of this stream, since I updated the last one and it carries everything over. The link to that Anet with my affiliate link is actually in the description of the stream. Hey 601. I believe it is the MK10. And Norm, I kind of like tentatively am agreeing with what Norm is saying. I do think, because the A6 is basically like the successor for the A8, and I think it's a slightly better design. I think the frame's a little bit more stable, but it's otherwise the same printer. So like if it's basically just this printer with a little bit more rigid frame and a slightly better design approach to the X-axis smooth rod orientation, I imagine it's going to be a pretty solid printer. Like I said, I've been printing and selling some spinners with the A8, and I've been setting all that money aside. and I'm actually going to just like pull it until I get enough to buy the A6. So the A8's going to buy my A6, and then it'll be nice to like compare the two. But it's like everything gets weird when you're talking about money, though, because the MK2 is, in most people's opinion, like objectively a better printer than the A8. So you can't be upset and be like, man, I ordered my A8. I should have got an MK2, because it's like 5 times as much money. So like 601, I wouldn't be bummed if you ordered your A8, man. It still seems to be a solid printer. You saved approximately $60 over getting the A6. So if you do end up liking the chassis and stuff, that's $60. You can buy yourself like an E3D V6 Lite. You could buy yourself a bunch of filament. You could buy, a piece of glass or like a different build plate, or you could, buy yourself a piece of PEI and still be like at that same cost of the A6 with a pretty solid printer. The link does not show an affiliate in there. It is. That's the link they. It's an affiliate link. I don't. Somehow their system like handles it on their end. Because there's already been like a handful of people that bought through it, that had contacted me like off the stream. You like your CTC, but it's a cheap frame. Do not order from Inktop. I know there's a lot of people that don't like these acrylic frames, but if you go watch the assembly video, like I'm kind of surprised like how robust it is. It is acrylic, but at the same time, it's I don't know what the actual width of it is or thickness. It looks like 8 millimeters, like it's 8 millimeter thick acrylic. Oh, the Anet has a bigger room for a bigger bed. Yeah, I was kind of surprised by the just how big it is. I didn't realize how big the A8 was until I saw it beside the Prusa. It does have a big footprint. The one thing I do like about it over the Prusa, like the bed, the Prusa actually has to sit farther out from the wall than the A8, so it has a smaller footprint, but it needs to be farther from the wall, so it's kind of like a push. The A8, like the bed is just oriented a little bit more centrally to the gantry, which I kind of like. Didn't know how big it was till I saw it in person. I've had people tell me that all the time. I gotta tell you. But no, I'm really glad. I'm sure I've basically. You've basically gotten that. I'm really glad I bought the A8 because I'm still waiting. I bought the A8 and the Wanhao on the same day, and Wanhao still has not contacted me about shipping. And I'm hoping it's not going to be forever, because I think they were saying it was 7 to 10 days, and I think we just crossed that this weekend, where it's been over that now. So if my experience with the A8 is any indication of what my experience with the Wanhao is going to be, I'm really looking forward to that. Because I know our friend Angus, who doesn't love Angus? Angus swears by the A8 or the Wanhao, the i3. So I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to use that. I actually have, if you see, I have the spool holder thing sitting over there now, but I actually have a plate and everything. Like the Wanhao has a home already. It just needs to get here. And a slight update on the power supply, that has saved 4 prints. That thing has saved me 4 prints already. Since I bought it, that has saved me 4 prints. There's 2 times the power went out and I had both printers running and it saved me. If I rebuild the frame with the 2020, see, that's... I'd love to do that, especially now that this is the first extruded aluminum rail I've ever had experience with, and I love it already. That stuff's like, I don't know, makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So I'm really looking forward to buying or building a printer. I've seen some like minor modifications that people have done too, like with the A8. I saw a guy that took basically the same like gantry system and some 20 by 40 rail and replaced his X-axis with it. And I'd imagine that's like a dramatic improvement. Like, these wheels work really great. They're really precise, and their movements nice and smooth. It's basically like a frictionless interface for the wheels. I did order a Wanhao, like I said, on the same day that I got the A8. Because I'm still like torn. It's really tough to make a call, especially when it's your second printer. It's hard to decide what you want to buy. I was going to get a CR10, and I happened to get a little bit more money, and I was like, shit, I get all these questions about the A8. So I ended up getting the Wanhao i3 Duplicator 2.1, the newest version, and the A6 instead. Any thoughts on the Tron XY? Not really. Not really. I know two people that have them, and one of those people loves it, and the other person is frustrated by it. So, I mean, beyond that, I really don't know much about it. It's one of many clones. So, but no, I think I do want to buy, because the extruded aluminum is so inexpensive for the most part, especially like the 20 by 20. Honestly, though, I think if I was going to do any project with it, I would upgrade my Prusa, because it's overall like better hardware. And I think it makes more sense to put that nice hardware in an upgraded frame as opposed to doing like something with the A8. Because I'd love to do like the Haribo edition, or I actually saw a different one that a guy did. I think it was like 20 by 40. I think the Haribo's 30-30. And I've seen a couple guys do like the 20-40. Yeah, the A2 is extruded aluminum, but I didn't, if I'm remembering it correctly, I didn't love the design of the A2. Yeah, I don't love the design of the A2. It worries me about having the single rail for the Y-axis, because I've seen people have a little bit of issue with that, because the build plate ends up having like leverage because the mounting point's like central, and then you have like 5 inches of bed on either side. But I don't know. Like, a lot of that's just speculation. It is a cheap printer. Like on GearBest right now, the Anet A8 is $175 with basically $3 shipping to the US. If you buy the black, it's funny, the black is cheaper than the silver. It looks like the silver runs you about $230 because it's $215 with $15 shipping, and the black one is $175 with essentially free shipping. Though that's the plus. I don't know if there's a difference. Oh, they do have a non-plus. I don't know what the difference is, honestly, without looking at it more. Upgrade the Prusa to the Hypercube. Oh, these freaking Hypercubes. It seems like a solid upgrade. I'm not opposed to doing it. There is definitely a lot of Hypercube hype. They should just call it the Hypercube and drop the hyper. I don't know anything about it, honestly. I've never seen one perform. I don't know anybody that owns one. Yeah, Paulo. The A2 looks like a TiVo tarantula, basically. Cat Blue. Hope I don't have problems with the CR10. I haven't really seen anybody having issues with it. Like everybody, I probably know half a dozen people that I've talked to about the CR10, and basically everybody seems to love it, especially for the money. If you watched Preston from Press Reset, he did a video in the CR10, and he had a bunch of like big. He only printed big stuff, which makes sense. That has a big build volume for the money. Holy crap! And if it's anything like the Anet bed, I don't think you'll have any issues leveling the bed. It was a little intimidating for me coming from the Prusa with the auto bed leveling, but honestly, like my honest opinion is, given the experience I've had with that and the problems I'm currently having getting the bed level with the MK2 because it's not self-leveling, it is not level. I kind of prefer the old school method because I am like a tinkerer, so I just, even if it's more work, I like having that direct like tactile control over it instead of having to like rely on the hardware to do it right, and if it doesn't, I don't really have a great way of interacting with it. Doesn't seem like the Hypercube is anything special. It's certainly a rigid platform. You can't criticize it on that front. And one benefit of the Hypercube is it makes it really straightforward to enclose your printer without having like an external enclosure, which I would like. That is like a plus to me. This is why streams are hard for me. I missed the answer about what Wanhao Nilla got. Anyone mind tagging me? It was the Duplicator i3. I had, what is their SLA, the D5? I had debated on getting the D5, but it just worries me about resin costs. The actual change in operation as far as like how different SLAs are to FDMs, that doesn't worry me so much as the cost of printing with it. That's why I'm kind of just like holding on to hope that at some point I'll get sent one to review. That would be nice, because if you don't have to pay for the printer, it takes the sting out of paying for the resin. But, or the D7, is that what it is? The D7 looks like a solid printer. Like Robert Klein said, the resin seems like it'd be a pain in the ass to deal with. I agree. I agree, it seems like it's a pain in the ass. Well, I guess it depends on your perspective. For the things that I'd like to print with an SLA, I don't mind dealing with the extra kind of hoops you have to jump through to get it to function and process prints and stuff, because for me, like the quality, I'm willing to put a little extra effort into that. What's a turnoff is the cost of the resin. And the resin does stink. I don't know exactly what the mixture for the SLAs is, but I've worked with resin before. Like Hard Time said, I've worked with fiberglass before, and I think the resin is similar. But it stinks. Like if you think ABS stinks, smell some resin. But no, I'd love to try one. And no, the basement does not have any natural light, like literally zero. So this is a good place for an SLA printer. Wink, wink. But I've said that before. I actually have a folder on my computer with files that are tucked away. If I ever do get an SLA printer, I have got hundreds of hours of prints that I want to do on it. But I'm sure as things progress and the SLA market grows and there's more incentive for manufacturers to make that stuff, that just like with filaments. I mean, hell, if you look what, 10 years ago, people were still using like weed whacker cord. And now we just have like more filament than you could ever hope to print with, and stuff's like hitting the market almost daily. Companies are coming out with new things. Not quite daily, but almost. So I'm sure it'll be the case with like resins as like the market grows and stuff. And hopefully cost will come down. Like I said, that's the biggest limitation for me is the stinking cost. Resin is not cheap. It smells like burnt PCB. It's depending on the resin, man. It's rough. Depending on the resin, the stink can be real. Nilla, drop me a DM of someone at Wanhao and put you in contact with. Oh yeah, that's right. You told me that before, and I keep forgetting. Imagination, yeah, ink printers. It's gonna be like ink cartridges all over again. You can't imagine what kind of quality weed whacker cord would give you. I've actually seen some really nice prints because I've wanted to. It's been one of those things that ever since I got a 3D printer, I wanted to do. We should do it one day on a stream. Because I think most of those are basically like a nylon-esque blend. But I've got weed whacker cord, but I have it's like a diamond shaped cord. I don't think it would work well, but you can get round cord. And if people weren't aware, that's how 3D printing started before there were really like companies that were catering to the community. As far as I understand, like that's like the foundations of 3D printing were guys building their own machines that were using things like weed whacker cord to do their first FDM prints. How often do I print with ABS? Infrequently. Very infrequently. My sinuses are really sensitive to the fumes and stuff. Besides the fact, we talked about this a little bit on the 3D printing community stream that we have on Fridays. You get somebody's going to get upset here. There have been studies done that show that ABS fumes contain carcinogens. It's just kind of a fact. And there might be ABS filaments on the market that this is not the case for, but when you print with ABS, it releases like those polystyrene compounds that are known carcinogens. And it's kind of one of those deals, and it makes sense that the higher the extrusion temp of the filament you're using, the more particulate that is released into the air. Like, that's what you smell. The more particulate that's released into the air when you print, and some of them are known to be hazardous to your health. And it's one of the reasons that I'm not really that excited about printing with ABS. I think I printed with it one time on stream, and it didn't bother me at first, but after about 15 to 30 minutes of it printing here next to me, it started to bother my eyes and sinuses. But if I don't have a link now, but if you Google it, there are legitimate studies done on like the emissions from different filaments and stuff, and ABS was not the only one. I can't remember what they were offhand, but if stuff like that matters to you, it is worth looking that up and finding out what's the best mix of like printability and survivability, if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of ABS. I love my Legos, so I can't talk too much crap about ABS, but I'm not too worried about printing with it. Insaniac, yeah, I have printed with a little bit of PETG, not a lot. But it's one of those things that if I need something with the qualities of ABS, I'd rather print with PETG. PETG prints really nice too. Like Robert said, it's a bit stringy, but it has great like structural qualities and stuff. It has great like interlayer bonding, and it's a little bit flexible. The liquid cooled machines, I have seen a few of those. It's really something. you could do with basically any machine, especially with like the amount of PC hardware that's out there. You can buy little water blocks and pumps and reservoir systems relatively inexpensively now. Like the computer that I built like a year and a half ago, I went to a water system, like a water cooling system, because it's relatively inexpensive nowadays. It used to be pretty pricey, but they're reliable. Like my computer has been sitting there with literally zero maintenance for it's probably pushing 2 years now. It might be even a little over that, and I've never had to maintenance it. It's not like 10 years ago if you had a water cool system. But it's like this machine. I could see on the ANET, the space above the extruder motor, there is room where you could put a water block there, since it dissipates heat through that whole piece. Oh, you mean things that print into liquid gel? I have not seen that. Yeah, like Miggy said, the water cooling kits have been pretty mainstream for a while now. That's why the price came down. Going off the wrong thing. Look, he said, and I quote, "Have you checked the liquid cooled machines?" And I have seen machines that use liquid cooling systems as opposed to like fans to radiate the heat around the extruder and stuff. Talking about one of those maintenance-free AIO cooling units. I don't know, honestly. I can't remember what machine I saw that on. But yeah, they do use glycol. So do some of the PC setups. But like mine has, well, mine probably does have glycol in it. Actually, mine was sealed. I didn't put water in it. But same principle, man. Remember? E3D is busy with a Titan arrow. Wow, what is this? This is a bald dude sitting in his basement talking to a bunch of people while shit prints on his machines behind him. Since we pretty much hit all the topics we're going to talk about today, we're just kind of hanging out at this point. We'll take it to 2 hours. We got about 20 minutes. But I know one project that I do need to advance that I haven't messed with in a couple days is the little Lazy Susan that's going to run with a stepper. It's going to be basically the same. The electronic side is going to be basically identical to the camera slider. It's just going to use a I can't think. Oh, over here it is. It's going to use like a gearing system. I do have the belts and pulleys, but I got a. There was actually like a Lazy Susan-esque design. That I found on Thingiverse, and it'll all be linked in. But the guy made this really sweet gear for the GT2 belt, and it's basically, this will sit under the rotating platform, and it'll have the little stepper motor underneath with the little Arduino Nano setup and the easy driver with a little belt drive. That I think the gearing reduction will end up being like 10-to-1, so we can actually run the stepper at a decent RPM to give it a nice smooth movement, but then still have like a very, a nice slow rotation on our display. So I do need to work on that a little bit, because I need that as well. And I think between the two, man, between the camera slider and this little thing, I'm gonna be able to get some sweet footage. Sir Pigglesby hasn't got any love. You are correct. I was actually planning on printing the front half of his torso on the ANET probably tonight. Was the plan, and then probably talk about it. I don't know if like Thursday's stream will be all about that, but probably talk about it on Thursday, and try to keep that project moving too. Because I want to get some of these things wrapped up. And my daughter, like the cat, is kind of out of the bag with the pig because she has seen his face and stuff, so she asks me about it now. Is there any PLA that handles better the sun or so? Do you mean like as far as being like UV resistant? Because if that's what you're asking, I don't know. I haven't actually had any prints that are in the sun. We're actually probably going to plan our garden out this weekend because I kind of wanted to print out some markers for like the garden and stuff, just to mark where things are. And I actually needed to do some reading myself to find out what's UV resistant. Oh, that's right. That's what we should do. Scott, you reminded me. That's what we should do on Thursday is hopefully the plugs I got Dean's plugs. They're probably a little bit big for the fan install, but I don't know. I like Dean's plugs. We should probably do the Noctua install on Thursday on the MK2 because I have that sitting here, and that thing is loud. That thing is loud. The power cord bumps on the frame. I don't know where those pieces are. They're over here. I have the pieces here. What do you mean the cord like vibrates on the frame? Is that what you're saying, Scott? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. Because it could be the case that I believe this sits on there like that. Maybe it's the case that we could actually modify this part and put like a little clip or something there to route the wire a little better. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at where it sits on the printer. I kind of see what you're saying. It looks like we might be able to, as long as we keep the cable thin. I think this is going to be a little too thick that comes with the Noctua. Because the other fan is basically right where this interface is, and the wire comes off of it, right about here, and then goes back in that little slot to join all the other wires in the group that comes off the extruder. And it might be the case that we could modify this piece with like maybe a little clip here and a little clip here that we could kind of nest that wire in so we'd keep it all tight and then route it right back to the same spot that the wire comes out of the other fan, the little 30 mil. I don't know. I guess it's without seeing some yeah, I guess it's one of those things, like I said, it'll become more obvious when we actually get to it. Because I think this wire's too thick. We'll probably end up cutting the shielding off of this. Maybe just like twist it a little bit to keep the wire bunched together. But I see what you mean, because if you go up over the extruder assembly, it's going to look ridiculous. It's going to look like a hot mess. You chose your nozzle cam mount over the Noctua? Robert, yeah, I'm torn. Like, I really do just want to solder it because it's so much easier to do. It's so much easier to do to just solder it and have a tiny little bit of shrink tube there and be done with it. But I think it's a little more practical to take a few extra minutes and put a connector on there. But looking at it now, I don't know where we're going to put the connector. There really isn't anywhere that it's going to sit nicely and be kind of, not staring you in the face. But yeah, maybe we'll kind of tentatively plan to do that on Thursday. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll try to get some of the Pigglesby parts printed out because I do want to finish that. I think it's a cool project. I don't want to drop that ball because if it sits up there too much longer, I'm going to forget about it. You don't got a lot of wire to work with. Yeah, because most of it's like the wire from the 30 mil that's on there is pulled back tight, clear to the control box. So you don't have a whole lot to work with. But if you're careful, like Robert said, you only need... If you're careful and get a little pair of needle nose pliers or get your little helping hands out there to hold it, you only need a tiny little nub to solder that and then shrink tube it. You don't have an MK2, but the process will be similar for all Marlin-based printers. You mean the fan change, Aspie? Is that what you're asking? Oh, I'm sorry. You were talking to Gustner about the runout sensor. There's actually quite a few people that are making those little boards because the circuit's really straightforward. But I would imagine, yeah, I mean, I'm sure Gustner will answer your question, but I would assume that that's compatible with quite a few different setups with minor modifications of the firmware. There's a 2-wire adapter. Oh, that's right. That was a really nice kit. I think I have it here. Anyone that hasn't seen the Noctua stuff, this is a really, really great quality kit, I gotta say. It comes in a nice box. It's got one of those, like, old PC... It reminds me of, like, PC games and stuff. It's got one of those style boxes. Let me fix the zoom here. Because they like display the hardware and stuff. And then it did come with a nice little selection of things. And I noticed it did have different leads in here, but I never really took notice to what they were. Because, yeah, maybe there would be a better connector that we can use in here. This one isn't bad. I wish it had a small end. It's got like a nice compact end on one side, and then get that in focus. And then like a bigger one for like a fan connector on the other side. But no, it's a really, really nice little little fan. Nice packaging. It also came with the other little bag of hardware. Oh, that's these are supposed to be some kind of connector, but I don't know what the hell they are. I've never seen those before. This is a little 2-pin adapter too, but it's got like the wide like actual 4-pin plug, which is a little beefy for our needs. But no, really great piece of hardware. This isn't the first Noctua fan I've ever owned. But every time I buy one, it does kind of shock me the quality just all around. The packaging, the hardware, the amount of accessories that they include with it is really top notch for the money. They're really a solid buy. I forget how much this was. I don't think it was very much. It's like under $15 if I remember correctly. Back when PC games came in boxes. I know, man, I miss those days. Can't you snip a male one and a female? Yeah, I probably do have something here I could steal a connector off of. But it's like always, $12. Is that what it was? It's always helpful to give people an option that they have available. Like everyone probably doesn't have mountains of old PC hardware laying around like I do. CD is obsolete. I know, CDs are super obsolete. For those connectors, we probably could do it both ways. Like maybe we will just solder it on Thursday because that's probably the route that a lot of people are going to go. I guess it's not that bad if you have to change it down the road. You just have to cut your heat shrink off and desolder the wires and resolder. I mean, looking at how little space we have to work with wires there, that actually might be the better option. Now that I think about it a little bit. Are there any matching pairs in the bag? Yeah, there's 3-pole pairs. And then there's like a 2-pole pair that it goes into a male 3-prong that you could use, but it's a little bigger than it needs to be. You pay to download songs. You can get a cheap DuPont connector kit. Yeah, there's a ton of connector options. That's why, like, I have some. They're called Dean's connectors. I used to use them when I ran like RC cars and stuff. I honestly don't know, Scott. I don't know if the Kapton tape will actually insulate it or not. I would assume I don't know the actual temperatures for wires, like what temp they melt at. It could be the case that they won't melt. I would imagine they will melt though. So I don't know, honestly. Like I said, we're going to try to route the cable back through the same place that the 30mm fan cable came out of. But we'll have to wait and see. Because at the very least, we're going to have to strip this shielding and stuff off of this, which I hate to do because it is a really nice like rubberized shielding that these wires have on them. But I don't know. We'll see. Because it would give us a little bit more wire to work with if we actually snip the old fan wire back on the rear side of the extruder instead of actually cutting it up near the fan. So we could take this lead off of the new fan and run this back to the rear of the extruder assembly and do it that way. But we'll kind of have to come up with a plan. I mean, I'll look at it a little bit before we do the stream, but we'll probably come up with a plan on the spot when we have the printer sitting here and get a close look at it. I have to look up some pictures of ways other people have done it, because I know a lot of people have done that upgrade. You've read a lot of good about the XT30 and XT60, they seem solid. The thing for me is keeping it as small as possible. That was my intention to begin with, and then, like I said, looking at how tight the space is. I mean, you could have a big old connector on there. Like, we could use the Dean's connector, but looking at that now, I don't know how much I actually want a Dean's connector flopping around on the side of my extruder assembly. The rocket is coming along nicely. Does it say on the box what the wrap is? It might. Let's take a look here. Flow accelerated channels, low noise adapter for full flexibility. Oh, this actually has a Velcro thing on the back. Look at that. Stepped inlet design, integrated anti-vibration pads, special bearing stuff, extensive cabling options. It does not really say. It doesn't really comment. It says they're sleeved, but it doesn't really say that they're heat shielded or anything. But no, it's a welcome upgrade. I think I've owned the fan for like a month now, so it's definitely a time to put it on there. Do I have any Dungeoneering videos? Yes, I have tomorrow to record. There's probably actually going to be 2 videos this week if all goes well. There's going to be a short video that touches on some things from last week. Because my printers were kind of down while I had the shop torn apart, so I lost some time there. And if you remember me bitching about the power going out, several of the prints I lost were actually trying to get the pieces printed for our initial layout. So some of that stuff's going to get printed tonight. So I won't have all the pieces, but I'm going to have enough that we're going to talk about the door transitions between the different systems. And the other video is going to be touching very briefly on settings and like variable height approaches from different slicers and stuff, because I think it is something that matters with the dungeon tiles. Not a lot of prints. I would say of all the prints that I've used, like different layer heights over the course of one print, 85% or more of them have been dungeon tiles, because it seems to matter on those more than most other things. Yeah, the Noctua fans have great packaging. Galen put DuPont connectors on all of his carriage connections. That's pretty sweet. It would be nice to just be able to remove the entire assembly, because the less fiddling you do in your little control board area, the better. Like, obviously, you can always double check your connections when you're done in there and make sure they're all okay, but as far as I understand, I think 3D Maker Noob, I don't know exactly where he had a problem, but I think I was talking to him briefly on Twitter, and from what I understand, his MK2 is down currently because he had a short or something, and it burned out his heat bed connector on his MK2. So even guys that aren't idiots like me have problems like this. But no, hopefully, it's unlikely I'm going to get anything done today as far as recording. But no, tomorrow hopefully is going to be a productive day, and I've got, oh my god, I don't know where it's at. I have a list of things I want to do videos on, and there's probably like 25 or 30 things on there now. So now that everything's back up, the lighting situation is kind of dealt with. I look a little overexposed here, but I was kind of rushing around to get started. But hopefully things are back to normal. Start knocking some videos out, because I definitely have a lot to do, for sure. Because there's a couple tutorials that I've had for like months that I want to get done. Like, if anybody has gotten a flash error, I'd like to do that tutorial soon, because I had to tweak my configuration file, and it dramatically improved the performance from what we had the first time around. Humbug productive. Oh, wait, I did want to touch on that. Let's touch on that, and then we'll call it a day. Kodama is not good as far as customer support, and I don't know if it's just because they're swamped or whatever, but like I briefly mentioned earlier, I contacted them with some questions, and the first time I contacted them, they basically said, go read the forums, and I have read the forums, and the question I had wasn't really addressed directly there. So the first response was, go read the forums, ticket closed. So I opened a new one up and said, hey, you closed my ticket without really addressing anything I asked. And then I brought up another issue or two where I had a question. Basically the same thing. I got like a copy-paste response of some links to the forum, to their Facebook page, to this other thing, ticket closed. So I opened a third ticket. And this was on a day where I was actually basically ready to order some things from their parts store, and the LCD was not in stock. And I opened another ticket. I re-asked the same questions from the first two tickets, and then asked them if they had any idea when the LCDs for the front panel touchscreen or whatever was going to be back in stock. Same exact thing. I got literally the same copy-paste response that I got to the second ticket, and they closed my ticket. So I finally opened another ticket, which I think we can all predict what's going to happen with that. And I also reached out to them on Twitter, hoping maybe someone will talk to me about this stuff. But yeah, it's been frustrating. It reminds me, I'm sure all of you have seen videos about how people talk about like YouTube, how it's almost literally impossible for the average person to talk to a human being on the YouTube platform. It's kind of how I felt so far about Kodama. And I saw some people talking about they just recently, I think it was like May. It might have been like the beginning of May here. Apparently, they just recently closed the shipping, or got done with the shipping for their Kickstarter orders and stuff. So they're supposed to be like focusing more attention on the tickets and stuff now. But I don't know. I've been, like I said, the day after I got the printer was when I opened the first ticket, and I basically have not gotten a single character of printed type from an actual person. It's been all copy paste responses. Aspie, yeah, Aspie, you have all the hookups, man. Yeah, I'll have to direct message you about both the things you mentioned, but I'll take it. Like, I hate being a pain in the ass, but at the same time, it's like if you can't get a response from a company, like, you're really left with no other option than to be kind of annoying until they deal with you. Justin, you asked earlier, what was the question? Did I ever get those upgraded fans for the MK2? Yeah, we were actually, I don't know if you were gone, we were actually talking about that. We're going to, if you're talking about the Noctua fans, the Nocturnals, I've even called these all kinds of Noctura. Yeah, we were actually talking about those just a few minutes ago. And as it stands now, we're going to install these on Thursday and deal with like the cabling issues and stuff, and get that sorted out. See you, Miggy. The Nutella fan. Yeah, I've heard people call those all kinds of things. I, for a long time, was calling them Noctura. There's actually quite a few instances of me calling them on stream. There is no R in here. It is Noctua. Noctua. But no, it's frustrating. The experience I've had with Kodama support so far is frustrating. And I understand if they're swamped or whatever, but if you're swamped, don't give me a half-ass dismissive reply to my ticket. Let my ticket sit there until you can actually address it, because it's more frustrating to have somebody blow you off than have somebody not respond, in my opinion. Ask Siri how to say it. But yeah, I honestly, I would rather have my ticket not responded to, which lots of companies have done. I've reached out to several companies about several different things, and it's basically don't respond. That's a lot less irritating than having somebody basically tell you to piss off. Inktop on eBay called you a liar. That is, at least it was on eBay. You do have a lot of recourse on eBay. If you buy stuff from a company directly, they really, I mean, unless you're going to sue them, they don't really have any obligation to accommodate you at all. eBay, at least, they'll just take your money back and give it to you. You don't get a bonus. I know I've had friends that work in tech support, and it is kind of a shame how the system works, because it encourages shittiness if you can get away with it. But eBay is protecting them. It's funny coming off of you being called a liar there. No, if you press it, eBay will side with you. eBay will side with the buyer if you press it. I don't know if you've actually called eBay, I would call them, say, hey, look, I got this. They sent it to me. It was broken. They acted like dicks. eBay will side with you. It's one of the things I hate as an eBay sider or eBay seller. If you push it, eBay will. Well, a lot of times you don't even have to push it. Just say, hey, this happened. They'll be like, okay, here's your money. Send it back to them. Search it up and meat spin. Don't do that. I would not recommend that. Nobody needs the dick windmill. G2A. Well, yeah, G2A is no comment. Yeah, hard times. I know this better than anybody. If you just call eBay, like go into their thing, like log into your account, to go through the contact process. They'll give you like a number. You can call up. You enter your number. You usually get pushed to the front of the line if you have like an actual code. Just talk to them about it, man. They will make it right. It is one of the nice things about eBay as a buyer. They will make it right. And I know you said you'd rather switch machines, but it might be in your best interest to throw it back in a box, ship it back to them, and then as soon as you can provide eBay with a shipping number that they received it for the return, they will take your money from them and give it back to you. So that's why it's great being a buyer on eBay. It sucks being a seller on eBay a lot of the times, but yeah, man. Hopefully that helps you out, because if you push it, you will get your way. eBay, it is like a weird... I never really thought about it like that. eBay is like the seller is the dad, eBay is the mom, and the buyer is the upset child. How do you think that's going to play out? Mom's going to tell dad to shut the hell up, give the kid what he wants, or I'll take it from you and give the kid what he wants. Yeah, Zapal, I've had basically the same thing happen, where it's like I can prove to you that this buyer scammed me, and it's like, yeah. But I don't know. Like I said, it's if you we should have an eBay stream one day. I've been tempted to make videos about how easy it is to screw people as a buyer. Like just do it. Like, take someone that I know that sells on eBay, so I'm not actually, like, victimizing, like, a random person. But there are quite a few ways to just screw people as a buyer, and nothing will happen to you. Nothing will happen to you, and you can get your way. It's just like, again, I would never do it. Like the Trinus, I bought that on eBay. If I would receive that, take the printer out, put a couple bricks in there that weighs approximately the same weight, and say, hey, this jerk sent me bricks. I'm sending it back to them and I want a refund. There is like a 98% chance that I would get my money back and keep a free Trinus. Because like I'm not that kind of person. But that's how eBay works, unfortunately. But yeah, all right, guys. It looks I was off somewhere having stream issues right at the end here. They heard. eBay heard. They cut me off. eBay and YouTube are in cahoots. I don't know if it's back up now. Is it live? Yeah, that's funny. The man is shutting me down. All right, guys, but that's pretty much it. I think we covered everything today. Oh, I don't know if Earl was still here. I'm slowly getting it. This isn't assembled yet, but if anybody wasn't aware, I don't have a link at the moment. I don't know if Earl's still here. He can throw a link up. I've been working on... This is one of the projects I've been working on, and this is also one of the prints. This isn't a single print, but this is Earl. Some of you guys have probably seen him in chat quite a few times here. Get this in focus. This is a paint rack, like for nerds that do their painting and stuff. This is a paint rack, and it's not complete. These are just the tops of the shelves. There's actually bottoms that go under here, so they hold your paint bottles. But I've been slowly chugging away on this project, and like I said, this is one of the sets of prints that I lost a ton of time with the power failures the other week, and I'm slowly recovering. But this thing is sweet. It's like a stone kind of pattern on the outsides, and then these are like, they have wood grain and stuff on them, so they paint up really nice. This thing is super cool. And I'm doing, actually have another piece. The setup that I do will actually be a double, where there's like 2 of these racks, which won't be enough for all my paints, but I think it's like a good start. But yeah, I didn't even print these at anything spectacular as far as layer height. These are all printed at just 0.2. And this is support material for the other pieces, but these are really nice files, as you can tell. And there's caps for all these, because you see the shelves. They come in like half depth, so you can get them on either side, and you get your shelves on either side. And then there's nice little caps that cap those off and finish the print up nice. But yeah, Earl, there he is. I figured that would make you materialize. But yeah, this is all Earl. He's got it on his site. I don't know. You can throw a link if you want. This is one of the things he's released so far, and he's actually got some other stuff in the works, if anybody wants to follow along. But I'm hoping maybe next week I'll get this assembled and some paint thrown on it, because I'd like to do a video on it, obviously, but I'd also like to get my paints in here, because I've been pretty excited about getting this finished. It's pretty sweet, man. Get a link. No, and I like, as you can see, most of the drawers have the circles for the paint pots, but he also has ones like this, where this will have a... Whoops. It also has like a utility bin, where obviously you'll have your flat piece underneath here. You can put like different things, like your thinners and crap like that in there. But no, this is very cool. There he goes. There's a link. And this is a paid file set. But with something like this, I've been talking to some guys. I'm sure you have too, Earl. About talking to some guys in some of the hobby groups on Facebook and stuff. And there's a lot of people that are skeptical about like buying files and the 3D printing and all that crap. Man, even at the prices you have for this. Like I know guys that have like 150 paint pots, and they'll buy these cheap ass paint racks that kind of suck. Those are totally worth the money, in my opinion. That's something, once I have them assembled, painted up reasonably well, and then put a nice coat of sealer on them, I'll probably have those for like 25 years, I would guess. No, hard times. If you actually, like I said, I don't have all the pieces yet. There's actually bottom parts for the racks and stuff. I think it's really, it's a pretty stout design when you see them, like all the pieces together. Like there's braces across the back that bridge everything together. It's really solid when it's all put together. So no, I think as far as like the way it's designed, I think it's pretty much spot on. Print's nice. It is a big print. I think these pieces took about, I want to say like 6 hours, something like that, 6 or 7 hours. At 200 microns, which is long print for sure. I don't know, Earl, did you have a ballpark of what it took to do a single rack? Because as it is, like I'm guessing probably in the 30-hour range. And I don't have them all done yet, but I'm guessing that's approximately what it would take to do like a single rack, and then a little less than that to add pieces on either side, because you're not going to have the uprights and stuff. But no, man, thumbs up. Like I said, I'll do a video on them whenever I get it finished, but I prefer designing it myself. Shouldn't be too hard. I agree. To a point. I agree that most of us here are competent enough with basic CAD that we could get a bunch of geometric shapes that would serve the same purpose. But I could not make that. Like with the aesthetics and stuff of that, like that thing is going to look... that thing will probably end up looking nicer than some of the miniatures that I paint with the paints that it's holding. And that's worth something to me. Like that's actually like a centerpiece in my shop when it's all done. So no, I think it's really cool. There's been quite a few file sets that I've bought, and none of them will get as much use as that set will, so I'm a fan. You'll print the X carriage. Now I'll print it here. Especially like one of these days, I'll get a call from or a message from Wanhao that the other printer shipped, and we'll get the Trinus up and running here at some point. So one of these days here, I'll be knocking files out like crazy. You've been working with Cigar Box for 5 days. No, I can't imagine how many hours Earl has spent on that. I know I've talked to him a handful of times on social media and stuff over the last few months/weeks, and he's always been like chugging away at that stuff. So there's definitely a lot of time and effort that he's put into it, and it prints nice. I've bought files already that didn't print well because there wasn't a lot of thought put into how they had to be designed to facilitate like nice painless printing. But all right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up there. I gotta grab some food. I think we rambled enough about enough different things today. I am walking away from this stream pretty happy that we cut a piece of freaking glass and it worked out, man. One edge is cleaner than the other, and now I know how to use my glass cutter after you guys made fun of me. But wait till you see the matching LED light towers and brush station. Oh god, man. Now I'm looking forward to it. But like I was saying, I think we're gonna leave it there. Thursday will be a more normal stream where we're actually like working on something. Like I said, we'll get the Noctua fan and the MK2. We might touch on has my audio been clipping this whole time? Are you kidding me? Does the audio sound all right? Looks like my bar's clipping. Oh, it's son of a bitch. I hate when that happens. Sorry if I was clipping this whole time. Yeah, Thursday will be more normal. We'll get the Noctua and the MK2, and probably talk about the bed leveling a little bit. Like, some of you might have some advice. I've done a lot of reading and stuff, and I know what I'm supposed to do, but I can't quite get my bed as level as I'd like it. And, like, the other day I printed a full build plate set of files, and, man, the back corner's high. And even using the micro adjust, I can't adjust it enough, so we'll do that stuff on Thursday. Anyway, guys, thanks as always for hanging out with me for a while. Thanks for showing up and having a chat and giving me a hard time for doing things the wrong way. I do appreciate it. The audio has been fine. I hope so. It looks like I'm clipping here on this end. Maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe that's not the case. Clipping audio it's not good for anybody. But anyway, I'm going to leave you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for supporting the channel by being here. I do appreciate it. And it's nice to have people to talk to, so hopefully I see a lot of you on Thursday. Peace.